What's up, people? How are you? I hope everything is fine, that you're enjoying life. I know you guys deserve. My name is Pepe Cuenca. I'm a Spanish Grandmaster, and I'm here with all of you not to do Bante Blitz today, but instead we're gonna try to solve some tactics problems. In this case, of course, we are using our beautiful tool from Chess24, the Tactic Trainer. You know that you don't have to today to read a book and to start putting positions in your board, but instead you can use our tool, our online tool, and it's pretty useful because whenever you solve a problem, you will get another one, you'll get another one, and so on. So you can stay the whole day or the whole life solving little problems, improving your ability of calculation. All right, so let's cut the bullshit as usual and start with it. Alright, so this is the first problem that we got, and in Spanish community we always say the same thing. You guys have to pay attention to the force moves. Whenever we talk about the force moves, we want to talk about checks, captures and threats. So these three things you have always to take in account, and this way, believe me or not, you're gonna be able to solve a lot of positions, even if they are extremely complicated. Using this simple method, you are gonna solve a lot of problems. So let's pay attention to the first problem. Well, we see that the king is on f3. Of course, this king is extremely unsafe, but counting the pieces, we see that black is 2 pieces down. So let's try to use this method. So checks, captures and threats. So we start with the checks. So we have queen g2 check, queen f2, queen g3, queen h5, and knight h4, knight e5, and bishop g4. Okay, of course all of these checks with the queen, king g2, king g3 and king f2 are completely stupid, so we can just remove them from our list. Queen h5 is also very strange because this king can come back to g2, and on g2 this king is safe. This knight e5 is very interesting, but this king can run away to e3. So the move that I'm thinking about is bishop g4 check, and after king takes g4, another force move would be h5, but then king f3 returning to this square and we have gained nothing. But the thing is, after bishop g4, king g4, knight e5, we force white to take with Facundo pawn, f takes e5, and now h5 is actually checkmate because this rook now is acting on the f file. And this is of course a forced sequence that we are gonna just do it now. Knight e5 and h5, boom. This is checkmate. Beautiful. Okay, so let's continue with the second problem. All right, so let's try to think a little bit. Of course, I want to make a queen now, playing d8, but then rook to d1 is actually coming, and then we lose the rook. So we have to think in this position. Now I'm realizing that there is a stalemate theme in this position. So it's clear that if we do any move from the knight, so knight b6, rook d1 is gonna come, and then rook d6 or bishop e6, and basically black stops our pawn from promoting, and then we're gonna lose the game. So basically here we have to try to create some sort of position where our king is on stalemate after black has captured all our pieces. So then it comes to my mind the move knight to d6, where black is forced to go rook to d1, right? King f6, this is the important move. Rook takes d6, d8 queen, rook takes d8, and now the king is in a stalemate position, right? So this is a draw. Of course, if we play knight d6, rook d1 and king to e3, then there is no stalemate and black is just crushing us, right? So I think this is the solution. Let's just try to prove it. So knight d6, rook d1, king c3 takes. Now we promote a queen, and this is stalemate. All right, my friends, so let's continue with the next puzzle. This position looks very calm, right? So with both players, we have 7 pawns, 4 minor pieces, the queen, the rooks, and seems like nothing is happening. Let's try to use again this method of the force moves. All right, so captures are just very stupid here in this position. The only capture that I can see is queen takes f8, right? This is completely nonsense. Of course, there are no checks. Well, the only check is queen takes f8 again, but there are threats in this position. Well, we could say that there are two possible threats here. One is bishop a5, which is of course again stupid because of queen takes a5, and the other one is knight b6. I mean, even though if this method looks so stupid for you, I mean, if you try to use it, then you realize that then something happens sometimes, because after knight b6, we see that the only possible move is queen to b6, right? And again, another threat in this position would be bishop a5, right? And after bishop a5, it looks like the queen hasn't got a room. So basically, this is the solution. Only taking a look at in this method, to this method, we want one can solve positions, right? Tactical problems. So let's just try to play knight b6, queen takes b6, and bishop a5. All right, so we gain some rating points in our tactic trainer, and we keep solving another position. All right, so we see a position where actually black is a lot of material up, but we see that the king is more or less trapped. Okay, this problem is very easy. Okay, I have to say that this is well, looks like pretty easy, right? So the thing is, of course, this king is almost trapped. We would love to play knight d4 check, but then there is a knight on f5. The thing is, if we take on f5 with our pawn, king takes f5, knight d4, king g4, now the king has escaped. But the thing is, again, with all this stupid method of checks and threats and captures, we see that the check rook e7 just wins the game on the spot. Because after knight e7, we can just play knight d4, and then, no, this is just stupid. After knight d4, of course, there is king d7. So again, we use the other check. So we play knight d4 check, knight takes e4, and rook e7, and that's checkmate. So let's just do it. Rook e7, checkmate. This was an easy one, right? I mean, we're getting easy puzzles, but no puzzle is easy then in a competition game. All right, so this problem looks a little bit more complicated. We see that this guy here is a monster on h2, controlling all this diagonal. And then let's just try to think about the first moves in this position. Well, the first moves that comes to my mind are rook takes a5, for example, or rook takes e5, rook takes a5, b takes a5, and for example, rook b1. That looks actually extremely annoying for black, right? Again, captures, threats, and checks, right? So rook takes a5, b takes a5, rook b1, and the queen cannot come anywhere, only a8, and then bishop a6 is just checkmate, right? So let's go for this, rook b1, and then bishop a6 would just come. All right, so let's continue. Next puzzle. I'm just gonna write down here that we have solved already 5 puzzles. So my intention is to make a video with 10, 12, something like this. And you would see that the difficulties of the puzzles would be increasing step by step, since we are increasing our elo, right? So king g5, again, force moves. So I want to go rook h5, for example. King takes f4 is just force, because if you go back to f6, then it's rook f5 checkmate. So after rook h5, king f4. And what's the solution now? Maybe just d3. d3 is just checkmate, right? Again, this is pretty simple. d3, king g4, okay, and now we have to keep thinking. So rook g5, king h4, g3, king h3, rook h5, king g4, rook h4, king f3, and rook f4, right? So this was more or less everything forced. Boom, 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 and rook f4 just checkmate. Okay, next puzzle. We see here we are pieced down, but of course his king is extremely naked, right? If we would be playing a strict chess, the king would be completely naked. Just his balls would be showing up. You know, so let's just try to think about force moves again. So checks and captures first, and then threats. So the first check is, of course, the most natural, and the only one is just king h8, sorry, queen h8, and then king f7, let's say rook h7, and then the knight can just take on h7 after queen takes h7, so this king can run away via e6, right? Which looks at least that black is surviving. So why not thinking about taking first that knight from g5 and then start going for the checks, right? So let's just try to analyze. So rook takes e5, f takes e5, queen h8, king f7, rook h7, king e6, and now what? Okay, there is another forced check, which is queen e5, forcing forcing mate, right? This is just checkmate straight away. So let's go for this. Rook takes g5, boom, boom, and mate. Okay, so next puzzle, and we are in this position. Whoa, what is this? I don't understand anything. So knight e4, black is threatening our queen, right? So let's think a little bit. Again, I don't know. I know I'm just all the time saying the same thing, but actually it helps a lot, guys. I wanna force you to think with this method, because only using this method many times. Okay, let me just explain myself. Okay, when I'm playing in a tournament, of course I forget about this stupid method, but you know, sometimes because I don't ask myself those kind of questions, I don't solve the position, and some winning position, I don't see the winning move, and I just manage to get in a lost position. Okay, again, checks and threats and captures. Okay, checks, knight c7, which looks of course extremely stupid, knight d6, bishop takes e6, and then e takes e6 and short castle, or the queen is hanging on d2, and queen takes e7. Queen takes e7 looks extremely stupid as well, but after rook takes d7, there is another check following this method, which actually wins the game. This check is knight c7, boom! Because after rook takes e7, rook d8 is actually checkmate, and then boom, you can go home. So let's just play knight c7 and rook d8. Okay, next puzzle, next puzzle. Too many pieces for me. Yeah, this is another problem that is actually extremely easy to solve using that method. Force checks. So knight h3 forces white to capture on h3. Then knight e4 forces white to take on e4. Bishop h4 forces white to go to f3, and then bishop e4 is just checkmate. So boom, 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 boom. And nothing else matters. Yeah! Bueno, sorry, I started to speak in Spanish. Well, next position looks extremely tough to solve, right? I mean, I don't see any ideas first, but then they will come up. They will come up at some point in my stupid head full of boot. Okay, so bishop d2. Well, let's just try to use our method. So queen b1, king h2, nothing happens. I see now. I saw the solution. So this is a little bit more complicated. Well, after rook takes e2, queen takes e2, everything is protected. But there is a capture here actually that wins the game. So queen takes e2 doesn't work, because after queen takes e2 we have just lost a piece. But the capture bishop takes g2 actually works, because after queen takes g2, since you have your queen on g6 defended by your king, you can take on e2 with the rook, right? So this is the sequence: bishop takes e2, queen takes e2, and rook takes e2. After queen g6, just king g6 just wins the game on the spot. And the thing is, of course, yeah, if you go rook takes e8, I can just make a discover check, and we are like 2 pawns up in this position, which is completely winning. All right, so let's go for this. Bishop takes e2, and now we should think about the best discover check, which could be, I mean, any discover check. So instead of, I mean, not all of them, because bishop h3 actually loses because of king h2, and then this bishop is just hanging. So I'm just gonna go back to c6, for example, and then this position should be winning. Okay, so in the next puzzle, black's actually threatening checkmate almost, so we should do something very quickly with our pieces. And again, this puzzle is now much more difficult, I would say. I think I saw the solution, but I want to explain in step by step, right? So everybody can understand. So it's clear that black queen is coming to h2, all right? We should stop that. I mean, if we try to use our method here of checks, well, basically, if we see that knight f7 just doesn't work because of rook takes f7 and the threat is the same, knight g6, just h takes g6 and nothing happens. But there is something we can actually do. So first, we can play rook h4, stopping this queen from coming to h2. Let's see. And then after queen h2, queen h4, now we can use our method. So force, checks, threats, and captures. Here the checks are knight f7, which looks like nothing is going to happen after rook takes f7, and queen takes f7, and then queen h2, and we're in big troubles. But then the check with the queen to g8 is actually extremely interesting, because after rook takes e8, knight f7 is just checkmate. And after king g8, there is knight e7, boom, king h8, knight f7, ba-boom. And after rook takes f7, there is rook c8, checkmate. This was really beautiful. So let's go for this. See if I'm right. So knight e7, knight f7, and rook c8. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, so yeah, this looks also quite doable. So again, our method. If we take on c7, well, the checks first. We cannot go to a6. We're just losing the queen to a7, to a8, knight a5, knight d6, and rook c7. These are the four moves we can find in this puzzle, right? So let's start with knight d6. Is of course extremely stupid because of queen takes d6. Rook takes c7 looks at this interesting, but after king c7, queen a7, this king could run away via d8. And after queen b8 or queen b6, this king still can run away via e7. And then it looks like he saved the position. But the good move here is queen a7 check. Because after king a7, rook takes c7, only move is king a8 and then knight b6. So let's go for this. Here, and knight b6. Okay, so this one looks harder than the previous ones. So again, our first method. So let's take in account the checks and the captures. So checks, rook f7, extremely stupid, right? Sorry, queen f7, extremely stupid. Well, it's not so stupid, but black can just take on f7, g takes f7, king h7, e takes e8, and queen takes e8, and looks like black is surviving, right? Queen f8, of course, doesn't help. Queen g7. Let's just try to see if we can give checkmate in that position. Queen g7, knight takes e7, rook takes e7 check, king h8, rook h7, king g8, and I don't see the point. But instead, there is the possibility of capturing on e6. So if we capture on e6 and black recaptures with the queen, so queen e6 here in this position, and black takes with the queen, there is rook g7, king h8, and minimum we can just recapture the queen and we're a piece up. So of course after queen e6, black has to recapture with the rook on e6, and then rook g7, king h8, rook h7, king g8, and now the rook is on e6 instead of on e8, where we were seeing in the previous variation. Now in this position, after rook h7, king g8, there is rook h8. Rook h8, king takes, g7 check, and then wherever the king goes, let's say to h7, g takes f8, queen, and then we are just a piece up, and also attacking the rook on e6. So this should be the solution. So let's go for this, here, and g7 check. Okay, in this puzzle, white is more or less threatening to exchange queens, what would mean that we would reach some kind of equal endgame, right? But we always have to take in account that there could exist back rank problems for white in this puzzle, right? So the thing is, we can never take actually on f1, not because of king f1 that runs into rook a1 check, but queen f1 coming back, and after rook e1 we reach this kind of endgame where the position is more or less equal, and maybe even white could be better because of the pawn structure, right? But then, following our method, we can start analyzing the captures and check. Bishop f2 runs into king f2 and nothing seems to happen, right? Because the king can always come back to g1 and no trouble. But then there is another capture which actually looks extremely promising, which is queen takes f3. And after g takes f3, rook g6 check, king h1, bishop h3, and then the threat is of course bishop g2 and bishop f3 checkmate. And I don't see a way where black is stopping this checkmate. The only move that I see is after queen f3, g takes f3, rook g6, king h1, bishop h3, is rook g1 that runs into rook takes e1 and rook e1, queen f1 and rook f1 checkmate. And the other move could be rook to d1 in that position, where we can just simply take on f2, for example, and then in the next move, bishop g2 checkmate. So let's go for this. Queen f3, rook g6, bishop h3, rook d1, and for example now bishop f2 seems to win in the spot. Let's see if it wins or not, because there is queen f1, which I was not taking in account in that position. So maybe it's time to think again. All right, so well, I see now the point. Yeah, you can just play bishop g2, king g1, bishop f3, king f1. And now what? Where is the checkmate? I don't see the checkmate. I don't see the checkmate in that position. That position. Well, the other thing is bishop f2 and then queen f1. That should also be okay, but I think bishop g2 is much better, of course. And now bishop f3, right? King f1, and now rook g2. A little hint, rook g2, and then rook f2 is coming, because rook g1 is not working, of course, so rook g2. Okay, so in this puzzle, our queen is being attacked by the knight of f6. So we can think on two options. First option, move the queen. Second option, we don't move the queen. So if we move the queen, let's say to h4, for example, then black can just retreat the bishop to d7 or something like this, and I don't see why white should be better. I would actually say that black is actually much better in that position, since after a takes b3, or for example, then black has got better structure and the bishop on b1 is basically doing nothing. So, or at least the position is more or less balanced, right? But we have other option here. Two other options. So following our method, the captures. Sorry, I'm just gonna put this a little bit down since it's killing me, the sun. So yes. So the other option is to take on f7 with the bishop, which actually doesn't help in any way, because after bishop takes f7, we're just losing a piece, right? So the other move is actually f takes e6. What I think actually wins, because after knight h5, e takes f7, and then if the king goes to h8, we can just take on e8, and then knight f7 is actually a fork. And if the king goes to f8, we got knight g6, queen takes e6, and bishop g6, and there is a double attack on the rook on e8 and the knight on h5. So let's go for this, and here we can just take with, and then knight f7 is actually winning. Okay, and now it is the last one finally. So we got this typical position where white has sacrificed a pawn on d5, this typical advance of pawns, d5, e takes d5, and then knight h4, knight f5 ideas. For example, you can see in the Queen's Indian a lot. And we got this position where the knight, sorry, is extremely well placed on f5, and there are some tactical shots here, I would say. So for example, let's start analyzing the check. So knight e7, queen takes e7, nothing seems to happen for black. Well, you can just win a pawn by bishop c6, d takes c6, and queen c6 in that position. And well, position would be balanced and nothing special for white. So another check, knight h6, actually extremely stupid, just the g takes h6, just winning for black. Queen g4 doesn't threaten anything since the pawn on g7 is protected. And then, of course, you could think on bishop c6 first, d takes c6, and queen c6. Using the fact that after queen c6, knight e7, king h8, knight takes back on c6 is a piece up for white. But of course, after bishop c6, d takes c6, queen c6, black is not forced to take on c6. Black could play, for example, bishop f6, and nothing happens really for black. But there is another capture that we haven't taken in account yet, that is rook takes d7. Boom! Extremely beautiful move, which I think that is the solution for this problem. Because after queen takes d7, for example, one could play queen takes c6 in that position, and after queen d1, there is bishop f1. But the thing is, after rook takes e7, queen takes e7, bishop c6, the queen can just come back to c7 and nothing really happens. So rook takes e7, queen takes e7, and I think there, so let's go ahead. So rook takes e7, queen takes e7, and now bishop c6, queen c7. And now we got to think a little bit. Yeah, now I see the point. So the point is, you can just take on a8, rook takes a8, and then queen c6. That's the whole key of the position. So bishop a8, rook a8, and now boom, queen c6, and now you can just take on e7, and white is just winning the game. So this was all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this session. Just try to use this technique. I mean, mostly for easy positions, but even though if you have a complicated position, try to ask yourself these kind of questions. What checks do I have? What captures do I have? What threats can I create? And this way you will be able to solve a lot of positions. Well, I hope you guys like this session. See you in the next video. Bye bye, and be good. If you drink, don't drive. Bye bye.